Hello, my name is Teacher Sharon. Welcome to the class. Welcome back. I'm excited to have you here and to see you again. I'm going to read the book of the week to you. The book of the week is Curious George and the Pizza Party. Do you like pizza? I like pizza. How many of you like pizza? Good. Okay, let's go. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, he wasn't just curious, he was excited. So excited, in fact, that he was turning flips and standing on his head. A little girl in George's building had invited him to her pizza party. George had never been to a pizza party before, but he loved parties and he loved pizza, so he knew it just had to be good. And look at his invitation. "George, it's time for the pizza party," said the man with the yellow hat. "Have fun and remember to be on your best behavior." George got to the party in perfect time. "Hi, George," called out the little girl. But oh, what was all this? The children were wearing puffy white chef's hats and checkered aprons. What could that mean? George got a hat and an apron too. The best was yet to come. They weren't just going to eat pizza, they were going to make it too. "Everyone will get a piece of pizza dough to roll out and make a special pizza," explained the girl's mother. There were many little lumps of dough. "But first, let's play some games," she said. "Looks like they're all ready." Everyone went into the living room to play Pin the Pepperoni on the Pizza. Everyone, that is, except George. He was curious about those pieces of dough. George thought and thought. If lots of little pieces of dough were good, maybe one huge one would be even better. Look at George's thoughts. He's thinking big. He gathered the lumps of dough together and squished and squashed them until they became the very biggest piece of dough he'd ever seen. What fun! Maybe rolling it out would be even more fun. He's ready. He has a rolling pin. George poured flour out on the table, and he rolled and rolled and rolled the dough with a rolling pin. It was messy work. First, he bumped over one of the chairs. Crash! Then he knocked over the sack of flour. Thump! The flour looked like snow lying on the floor of the kitchen. George liked snow, though, so he didn't mind at all. Soon he had gotten the dough nice and thin. But the thinner it got, the farther it spread out. Before he knew it, the dough covered the table, then the chairs, and then George. Oh no! Without the flour, it started to stick to everything, including George. Maybe the dough was better off in small pieces after all. George got a pair of scissors and began cutting up the dough into lots of different shapes. He thought everyone would be pleased. Look at the shapes he's making. "George, what have you done to the kitchen?" The little girl's mother didn't look very happy. "I think it's time for you to go home now." How surprised and sad George was. Just then, the children burst into the kitchen and saw the mess that George had made. "George, what happened?" asked one boy. The other children looked at the shapes George had made with wide eyes. "Wow, George, I've never seen pizza dough like that before," said the little girl, smiling. Somebody was happy. "Well," said her mother, "if you can clean up this mess quickly, George, I suppose you can still stay." And look, his friends are happy. So guess what they did? The children all helped George clean the kitchen. He was lucky to have so many good friends. As they worked, they talked about pizza. "I'm going to make a pizza that looks like a star," said one little boy. "And I'm going to make one that looks like a house," said a girl. They're taking the different shapes for pizza dough. And look, George is even flipping his pizza dough. Once the kitchen was clean, the real fun began. All of the children picked out perfect pieces of dough and got to work. They spooned on the tomato sauce and sprinkled on the cheese. They added lots of vegetables and pepperoni. So many different toppings for the pizza. What's your favorite topping? I like pepperoni and mushrooms and sausage, so I have a few favorites. The pizzas looked wonderful. Look at the pizzas. One looked like a rainbow, another like a stop sign, and still another like a balloon. There was even a pizza that looked curiously like George. Can you pick it out? Which one looks like George? I think it's this one. "Well, George," said the little girl's mother, "the pizzas taste great, and thanks to you, they look wonderful too." Everyone agreed. It was the best pizza anyone had ever seen or tasted. They're eating their pizza now. For the second time that day, George was so happy that he turned flips and stood on his head. Of course, it was a little harder to turn flips with so much pizza in his belly. But George didn't mind. It had been a wonderful pizza party. He looks very excited now. The end.